You know, I've been so busy lately doing my hospital stay videos that I've been kind of neglecting my wake up call to Canada stuff. I don't have my video production programs on my iPad, but that doesn't mean I can't do a few of these. So I thought let's do one today because I've been, when you're lying in bed all day, you watch a lot of news and you see even more things. So today my four top ones for the week are well, the four stories I've chosen, not necessarily the four top stories, but some of them are more involved than I'd like to be if I went after the four top stories. So let's just focus on four quick ones today. The first one's Rob Anders and his YouTube video that went viral of him falling asleep in the House of Commons. You know, this is a guy that's been driving me crazy for years. We had there's members of his own riding association that have resigned, quit all types of turmoil over the years because of their attempts to get rid of him are always stymied by Harper and Harper's insistence that Anders stay in that riding. Here's a guy, I know quite a few people that live in that riding. It's a fairly upscale riding in Calgary, and nobody I know votes for him, and yet he continually wins. He's an ex-reformer. He blamed his excuse for falling asleep was supposedly an accident he had 3 weeks ago with an 18-wheeler. I suspect if we give him a couple more days of talking to the press, we'll eventually find out there was a Liberal driving it, because one thing this government can't do is accept responsibility for anything, and everything eventually winds up being the Liberals' fault. So wake up, everybody. This is your wake-up call for what's happening to our democracy. The next little issue happened over the last couple of weeks, last week in question period, involving Joe Oliver, who's our Natural Resources Minister, and culminated with Megan Leslie's comments. She's the NDP critic that went down to the States to discuss the TransAlta X pipeline. I think any politician has a right or responsibility to go and talk with any other government. This isn't a role that's totally reserved for the ruling party. These are politicians representing their ridings, and they have as much right as the party in power to do this, from my perspective. That's what democracy is about. Anyway, Oliver was all over her for this, Joe Oliver, in question period, calling them clowns, and he's the one that made the ridiculous comment about getting an Economics for Dummies book for this woman. Okay, that's pretty insulting. Regardless, he got away with it, but the minute she got up and used the term grumpy old man, she was booed and hissed off the floor. Well, you know what? We grew up with two grumpy old men in the Muppets. It's not an insult. You know, we had two movies called Grumpy Old Men that did extremely well. Making a comment about grumpy old men is not an attack on seniors, as Oliver would have us believe. So there's another wake-up call for you, Canada. Wake up, pay attention to what this party's doing. They change the station constantly, and they use your people's words against them. Andrew Scheer, the Speaker of the House, may know his parliamentary law, but at 33 years old, I don't think he's had an opportunity to develop the wisdom that Milligan had to be able to apply the rules of the House. And he's kind of sitting there teetering on the fence, appeared a little uncertain on how to deal with that. And last but not least was that ridiculous photo op this week for Harper with the jet flyovers to celebrate the end of the Libyan mission. You know, in my 60 years, I've never seen that type of celebration in my life. And for over $1 million to go into the end of a mission where we never even had troops on the floor, on the ground, while our Afghan vets are being screwed around, that's a horrendous waste of money. And again, that's a slap in the face of democracy. This government doesn't understand democracy. They don't care about democracy. They care about their ideology. So there's another wake-up call for Yes Canada. Wake up and pay attention, see what's happening to our democracy, because we're losing it. It's being chipped away, and we can't continue to let that happen. Cheap photo ops for the Prime Minister so he can thumb his nose at everybody else. It's just getting to the point of ridiculousness, and that we're sitting back and letting it happen. We have vets who are having their files reviewed by 4,000 times. The initial one, Chamboury last year, they said, well, it was a mistake, it was an anomaly, never happened again. Well, we've just had 3 more come forward. And for one person to have his file looked at on 4,000 different occasions, if you add that up at an average of $20 an hour, we just spent over $80,000 having somebody, trying to keep somebody from accessing some type of service. I don't have all the details, so I can't get into it. But that's not what democracy is about. And if that's where our money's going to be spent, $50 million to Muskoka, a couple of million to do flyovers, $9 billion for jails we don't need. How many millions we don't even know yet for airplanes we don't need, and yet healthcare is being neglected, education is being neglected, veterans are being neglected. This isn't about democracy. This is about Harper's ideology. We're no longer living in a democratic country, so there's your wake-up call for today. Wake up, folks. Start paying attention. Get your act together. Get in touch with your MP. That's what democracy is about. Ta-ta for now.